Hello, I am finally unveiling to the world the third in a 4-map horror-themed campaign, so somewhere between survival horror and action horror, that started with the Derelict, led into the Hellgullet, and now we are at Belly of the Beast. I'm very, very proud of these maps, and I put quite a lot of work into them, trying to build an atmosphere, have the correct pacing, put a lot of time into the prop design, and as I do in pretty much all of my maps, I really wanted to mix up the gameplay itself. So in these maps I have a variety of custom mechanics. I have a reloading system with magazines you pick up, which does, unfortunately given the way Snap Map works, add a few limitations, but I think that plays very well into the survival horror genre. And I've had some fun doing some other things, like in this map you'll see I will have stockable med kits. In other maps I've turned the lightning gun into a tool you actually needed to use to progress as opposed to merely a weapon. So the quick background in this map is, starting in the Derelict, you and your captain and your crew are scavengers going through space. You can think along the lines of Firefly, and this entire campaign is kind of like Firefly meets Event Horizon. You stumble across this UAC Derelict floating in space, and you of course go on board hoping to find cargo or things like that that you can fence. Unfortunately and unsurprisingly, that's not all that you find. In the Hellgullet, captain loses trust in you, thinking you are a danger to the crew, and leaves you behind. Another voice, only identifying themselves as a survivor aboard the Derelict, has directed you into this portal that leads, of course, into hell, but he has not yet told you why. I'm not going to be doing commentary in this playthrough, save that I will read a few of the text logs in case anybody is watching this in the background. But other than that, this is just going to be a, I hope, immersive playthrough, but I strongly recommend that you play through it yourself, because I have designed these to be an experience that's better to be felt than seen. But for those of you who are curious, want to get a taste, or just for whatever reason can't access or would just like to see it, here it is. When we first arrived, I noted a strange, liberating feeling, as though I were lighter. After working for a while, I realized I was experiencing a lack of fatigue. The air, which we were astounded to find was breathable, is extremely oxygen-rich, but I don't believe this fully accounts for the phenomena. From samples drawn from the biomasses on walls, we have drawn two key conclusions. First, these masses are composed of a heterogeneous amalgam of bodily tissues, viscera, bone, connective tissues, etc. And second, that these tissues do not show any evidence of rot or decay, at least not from the action of microbial decomposers. In fact, the opposite occurs. These tissues grow and spread, creeping much like fungi in our own realm. The full import collection is proceeding without incident, but slower in the wake of last week's perimeter breach. McElroy and Degree have yet to be replaced, and the extra muscle isn't keen on helping. There's still no clear answer as to where the last shamblers came from. I'm guessing it was just wedged in a crevice or curled up in the bones somewhere, but I thought we were thorough. Suggest we update procedures to ensure redundancy in future sweep and clears. We can model them after this week's. Unless shamblers start climbing out of the muck itself, we're golden. No intrusions or other incidents of note so far. There have been some disturbances, though. I hear we're calling them sensory discrepancies. Odd noises, gurgles, echoes, voices, etc., and the occasional hallucination. So far, no one has reported anything severe, but I do think they're increasing in either frequency or intensity. It's hard to tell. I notice it most often when I'm near those bleeding walls. My head pounds whenever I'm patrolling nearby. Ultimately, we're fairly well entrenched at this point, but I'm keeping my gun clean all the same. I'm not ending up like the last guy in 3 body bags. So far, no reliable conclusions have been drawn regarding how it is that these tissues grow and spread. That they don't decay is simple enough. This world does not have decomposers, much like prehistoric Earth. But the genesis of new life from dead flesh has proved more elusive. I'm gathering samples for further tests, but I'm reminded of the hoarding behaviors we've noted in the beasts of this world, how they fall upon corpses and gather rended flesh into piles. It occurs to me that this behavior must be connected, likely emergent from, the unique ecology of this world. There's something they gain from this behavior, and we must learn what. Discovery that the flesh found here is genetically dissimilar to the beasts themselves gives pause. This log will deviate from the heart of my research, as I feel compelled to contemplate the so-called sensory discrepancies that most of us have experienced at least once since we first completed the link to this realm. I was, of course, quite skeptical of the reports, and then I experienced it for myself. Horrifying visions, lost time, regaining sight only to find you've moved across the room. It's all very distressing. At first it was vague, quick, starting just as a flash of unease, but it's become more intense. Lately the visions have been accompanied by a voice, one that is clearly sapient, intelligent, and aware. One not heard from any beast we've seen. I hypothesize a hierarchy, dumb brutes on one end, and psionic puppet masters at the apex. We're going to need some more napalm up here soon. These gore tumors, biomass growths, are getting really persistent. We've had to blast this hallway down at least once a day, and it just keeps growing back. What's worse, Davis and I keep hearing weird sounds, like crunching and muffled voices. Consequently, we've put in orders for fuel and some rifles. They're gonna keep us posted here. I'm not trusting my life to it. Ow! Immersion ruined. we remain cut off from the rest of the incursion team. So far, nothing has tried to attack us, much like it's been for a few days now. Even back towards the portal. It feels like the demons, I refuse to call them otherworlders anymore, we know what they are, seem to have largely left us alone after we first cut into this place. That's partly why Fontaine and I ventured this far. We got a bit cocky. We'd been wanting to explore the other side of the bars for a while, but it was a dead end. We started to hear voices in our heads, in our bones. They got louder whenever we tried to leave. Made us see red, see nightmares. But it's not just in our heads. I picked up garbled noise on comms. I think they're waiting. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have, if you haven't already, you go back and play the Derelict and the Hell Gullet. Ideally, this one as well. They all have unique little tricks that I tried to pull. Interestingly enough, I'm actually going to have to go back and do a tiny bit of tweaking because there were a few small little issues at the very end there, like some dialogue, audio dialogue that didn't happen. But for the most part, I'm very proud of this, and I hope that you all appreciate it, enjoy it, have some fun with it, or we'll just leave it at that. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you enjoy this and some of my other maps. Thank you.